Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast here on Nighthawk Radio. I want to thank everybody that's listening on Nighthawk Radio. And you can also find us on Live 365 app. Just search in on the search engine Nighthawk Radio. So I want to thank everybody that's listened and liked our Facebook page, followed our Facebook page. We're blessed enough to have an interview with a singer all the way from Indiana, Carl Bentley. Well, he's originally from Floyd County, not Kentucky. How are you doing tonight, Carl?
I'm doing good, and I appreciate you having me on here, Seth. It's a pleasure. So,
Hey, man, sorry about all. I was a little bit late, but we're doing it now.
yeah, yeah, it's all good. Better late than never, right?
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on, man.
Yeah, no problem. And I apologize for my dress right now too. I ain't got a dress shirt with me. We're out here in Missouri at a baseball tournament. And it's t-shirt only for me this weekend,
Hey,
brother.
buddy. Yeah, I mean that's the way I am, brother. You're fine, man. So
All
getting
right.
into your music career, who was your biggest influence in starting to like sing and stuff and do music?
Well, I tell you what, I've got a large amount of influences actually, but my biggest and the guy's my favorite singer, my hero, and that will be Keith Whitley. Um, I remember hearing Keith singing with Ralph Stanley when I was probably, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. I listened to one of them old Ralph and albums that Keith was with him. And, I heard that. Then I heard his country stuff a little bit later on. And, if I ever wanted to be like a guy, I want to be like that guy. I mean, Keith was a one of a kind for sure.
Phenomenal talent, man, all the way from Sandy Hook.
Yep. Yep. Died way too young. He left this world way too early. And I've got a lot of other influences too. I listened to a little bit of everything growing up, everything from southern rock to country to bluegrass. I'm pretty well rounded in it, but I would say if there was one guy that influenced me, it would be Keith for sure.
Hey, that's not a bad choice, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And what got you into bluegrass?
Well, I started in country. I had family that played bluegrass music and on both sides, but when I was younger, I kind of took a liking to country music, and it's that late '80s, early '90s. Around the time that country was changing a little bit. I kind of liked that for a long time, but I always found myself liking acoustic music, though. And I kind of always found my way back to it. And the thing with bluegrass music is it's the most truest music. You can play it on stage, you can play it in the back of a pickup truck rolling down the highway. And you're going to get the same sound either way. And I think that's what I like about it is the simplicity of the instruments and the true vocal harmony and things that come out of it. So
Definitely, man. And obviously, we're from the bluegrass capital here in Eastern Kentucky. Got a lot of good bands around here, man. The
oh,
Tommy Weld
there's a
band.
ton. Yeah, Tommy's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's
My
a
brother
lot of
was
bands.
actually his bass player for a long time.
Oh, is that right? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy. I ran into Tommy. We played at a festival there in Olive Hill, Kentucky last year, and we actually played right before Tommy. And I believe we're going to see him again here in a few weeks. We're back at that very same festival. I've known Tommy for years. He used to come and sit and drink coffee on the porch with my dad, honestly, and my mom and dad. But Tommy grew up, well, not grew up. He was raised right around Martin, Kentucky, there, which is about ten minutes from where I'm from there, McDowell. But known Tommy all my life, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. We're definitely in the bluegrass capital. Love bluegrass music down here, man.
Oh, there's a ton of music, and there's a lot of singers that never get known down there in the hollers, and a lot of good musicians. I can name you 10 right now that could do probably better than I could right now, and they never going to see the stage. Either they quit or just could get a start in it. And it's definitely the region for the music for sure.
It is, man. Well, Indiana's pretty big on the bluegrass scene too, though.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of it up there, and I think Bean Blossom there in Bean Blossom, Indiana, which is where the Bill Monroe Festival's still running. It's been going, a long time. Bill Monroe started that thing as a barn dance there, and that was in the probably around the 50s, somewhere in there, late 50s, early 60s, and then for the longest time it was the biggest bluegrass festival going, and it still may be. I don't know really who holds that record, but if you think about the five of the bigger bluegrass festivals, you're always going to hear Bean Blossom. You're going to hear Poppy Mountain in Moorhead there. You're going to hear the Stanley Brothers Memorial Festival over there, and but you're always going to hear those bigger festivals in the mix for that. But the Indiana bluegrass scene kind of centers around Bean Blossom, and there's some smaller festivals around up there. But
Yeah, it's good to see it go all the way to Indiana and stuff, man.
yeah, yeah, it's part of the newer trend too. You've got guys like Billy Strings that is kind of turned it on its head a little bit. You got a lot of young people now listening to it again, as well as the older generation. Billy Strings and Molly Tuttle and some of those younger people that are playing the music.
This is gonna be a hard question to answer, man. But what's your favorite festival to play at?
Well, there's a lot of festivals, and I would say to date, because we're actually going to get our first gig at Bean Blossom this year in September. We're playing on the Uncle Pen days, but to this date, there's a really good festival up in northwest Indiana that is good. It's called the Earl Park Festival. That's a really good one. But I also like the one right there in Olive Hill, Kentucky, the Shriners Festival, which is I would say if I picked the two, I'd probably go with the Shriners Festival there in Olive Hill. They do a real good job running it. It's a real clean show, and it's the Shriners. A lot of that money gets donated to the Shriners. The money they raise there, and you know where that money's going. It's for a good cause, and I would say to date that's probably my favorite one.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah, there's so many bluegrass festivals out there, man. I'm sure it's hard to choose from because we
Yeah,
got like 10 or 12 around here, man.
yeah, and I've had a hard time, Seth. I've been trying to break into to more of the Kentucky festivals, and I'm from down there, and it's been a hard time just trying to get on the docket to some of those. But I think this past year we played at Metal Green, there the Metal Green barn there in Clay City, Kentucky, and that playing Olive Hill, and I've been talking to the folks at Poppy Mountain. I think if we can keep going down that path, we'll get some of those other shows. But yeah, you've got a lot of newer good festivals that are coming up. That Trail Ride Festival there in Knott County is another one that comes to mind. And
Yeah, it's
you got
actually where I
the
live, brother. It's actually-
yeah. I mean that right there would be a good one that we've been trying to get on, and that Mind Made festival they have over there. That's another one.
Yep.
So yeah, you definitely got a good bluegrass scene, but I tell you, we've struggled trying to get in that market down there. But I think it'll happen. We're a fairly new band. We'll be 2 years old in October, and we've already got we've got an album out. It's seeing some chart time and getting pretty good airplay. So I think things will pick up for us a little bit in the coming years. So
Yeah. And John Crouch is part of your band as well.
yeah, John plays some mandolin for us. He actually sings a song here and there for us too. John's a good guy. I've known John probably for I don't know, 10 years or more. And he used to play with another little band there, based out of Liberty. They were called, shoot, I can't even think of what they were. Joy River Band. That's what they were called. And I put out an album back in 2023, and the album had really good success. And I found myself without a band. I'm going out and playing these shows and trying to piece together a band every week. And finally, made the call that I've got to get full time guys. And John was one of the guys that was able to come on board with me and to play the mandolin. John's a great mandolin player, by the way. He's an absolute fine musician.
Very nice guy as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't get better people than John Crouch. So yeah, I've got John on the mandolin, and I've got Josh Coffey on the banjo. Josh is probably the best banjo player in Indiana, in my opinion. He's one of the best, anyway. I've got Caleb Garrett playing the bass for me. Caleb's a really good tenor singer and plays guitar too as well, but plays the bass for us. And Josh sings a baritone. So we everybody in our group can sing, which helps the case a little bit more when we're playing.
Makes it easier on you, man.
Yeah, yeah. Them guys, they sing a little bit, and we got a good harmony, good solid sound. And the bigger part of it, we all get along. I think we got shared interest for the most part. That's the downfall with a lot of bands is if you don't can't get along with the guy you're playing with, it ain't going. It's no fun. You know. So yeah, them guys are all good guys. So
What's your favorite song that you've sung, man?
favorite bluegrass song or favorite one that I've written because I write a lot of music too. Uh,
Just any song, brother. Any song that you've wrote or sung, man.
well, I'm a big fan cover songs. I'm a big fan of the Stanley Brothers. I've got to do about every. I think I know every song that Ralph recorded. To be honest with you, but if we're talking traditional bluegrass, I like singing some of the Stanley Brothers stuff. But songs I've wrote, we the one I recorded here about 2 years ago on my first album. It pays tribute to our men and women in armed forces. It's called "God Bless a Soldier." I would say that's my favorite one to do live of the ones I've written. And then on the cover songs, I like the old fast Stanley Brothers stuff. We do one called "I Hear a Choo Choo." I don't know if you've ever heard that tune, but it's an old tune. We kind of do our own twist on it, and we do a pretty good job on it. I like that one too. So I know I'm all over the place there. It's hard for me to nail down one song that I like to sing, to be honest with you. But
Hey, that's a hard question, man, honestly.
yeah, yeah, I love them all and try to do my own thing with them. Put a lot of emotion into anything we're playing and singing. So
Yeah. Songwriting helps you out whenever you're like in a hard place or something.
yeah, yeah, someone asked me that one time. They're like, "Man, you just keep writing all these sad songs," and I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm just a sad person because it seems to be the ones I write. But I write a lot of story songs. I mean, most of my songs tell a story, and that's one thing too with country music that's missing in today's. If you listen to modern country music, there's not a lot of storytelling going on there. It's just simple. It's simple beats and
Drinking
my truck
beer
better than
and
yours.
going after a
Yeah,
woman and everything in the world.
yeah, there's no stories anymore, and I hope that bluegrass music don't get to that point, but even some of it lately has gotten away from the melodic storytelling. And I don't know if you've listened to any of the old James King records. James King was one of the finest storytellers in bluegrass music you'll ever hear, and him he died here a few years back, and that kind of left a void for bluegrass music as well. And I'm just hoping some of the songs that I wrote will fill some of that void. You know, so
Yeah, but you're right, man. Country music has definitely changed for the worse. I think
oh yeah,
Taylor Swift had a lot to do with that, in my opinion.
it's terrible. I mean, there was a time where if you had talent, you could sing and you could pour that raw emotion in a moving audience, you were in good shape. Nowadays, you still may not be. They still may not play you because it's all an image now. They're too worried about seeing guys like Luke Bryan running around in girl pants. I mean, I hate to dog on the guy, but it's the truth. You know, country music's just went to the dogs.
Yeah, Chris
And
Stapleton's pretty good. I like Chris Stapleton.
yeah, Chris Stapleton and Tyler Childers and a few of them other guys, they've kind of brought on their own little genre, of country, their own flavor of country. It's kind
Morgan
of
Wallen as well.
yeah, Morgan Wallen is good. And I can listen to that stuff. I Chris Stapleton, I met him one time, and this has been, oh gosh, probably close to 20 years ago when he's playing with Steel Drivers, and
Nice guy from what I've heard.
super nice guy. And he's written songs. He he's wrote more songs for people in Nashville than you can count on both hands together. And here he is singing with a bluegrass band, and you know then he goes in the country and he has a couple of hit songs, and now they know him. You wouldn't have knew the guy 20 years ago, but
Yeah, I think he's won
super
a
talented
Grammy,
guy,
man.
super talented guy. And right there on the country music highway. He from Paintsville, I believe.
He is from Johnson County, yep.
Yeah,
And you got
yeah,
Tyler Childers from Virgie.
yeah. All them guys, they're all from
Who
right
was
there.
that guy that won American Idol? He's from Louisa. I can't think of his name.
Oh, I know he. I got it on the tip of my tongue.
He's
Uh,
really good.
Great singer. I can't think of it right
He
now. And,
he had a hit song that hit the records, hit the charts and stuff.
and let's not forget about Zach Top either. Let's not leave Zach Top out. I don't know if you've listened to his music, but he is one
I've
fine
heard of
country
him, but
singer.
no, I've never listened to his music. I've heard of his name though, and
Yeah, he's a little more polished to the countryside, but it's still traditional, good raw traditional country. And he started in bluegrass too, so
yeah,
he's
we got halfway
great.
to Hazard as well, man. From here in Knott County, halfway to Hazards from here.
Yeah, yeah.
They're really good.
I forgot about them. Yeah.
They're really good. Underrated actually.
Yeah, I'm not real. I mean, I've heard some of that music, but I'm not real familiar with them, with their music. But it, I've heard some good things. So,
Yeah. Well, we got a few more other country singers from here. I just can't think. Well, obviously Keith Whitley's from Sandy Hook.
oh yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus is from down there. Dwight Yoakam, the Judds. Uh,
They're from
you know, I,
Ashland, right? The Judge.
yeah, yeah. You got Don Rigsby right down there in Sandy Hook too. He plays a lot of bluegrass, but he's super singer and player. Played on most people. In fact, he was on Alan Jackson's bluegrass album. You know,
Oh wow.
yeah. There's I couldn't name you all the people right now, but if I sit a while, let's not forget Ricky Skaggs either. Only probably the biggest name in bluegrass, but
The
in country too. But yeah,
Stanleys as well.
yeah. Well, I mean they're from Virginia, but right across the hill there though.
I count it as the same area. I mean, they're still in the
It
Appalachians.
is. It's
As
right
long as
off
you're
the
in the
water.
Appalachians, we're in the same area because we live in the same mountains, bro, and we go through the same struggle.
Yeah, yeah. Gary Stewart. A lot of people forget about him. He's from over there around Elkhorn. Patty Bubbles. She's from over there in that area.
Coal miner's daughter.
Loretta Lynn. How could I forget Loretta Lynn? Yeah, down in Van Leer there. Yeah, yeah. The list goes on and on with
Her
the
daughter's
talent.
singing now, man. Loretta
I don't
Lynn.
know her. I haven't heard much about her. I bet is she
She's
pretty
really
good?
good. She's singing with what's his name? Conway something. I can't remember. It's Conway Twitty singing with
Oh,
his grandson. They go on tours and stuff. They got all
well,
kinds of songs. They're really
that
good.
that would make sense since Loretta and Conway, kind of had their duo going there for a long time.
Yep,
So
his grandson is singing with her daughter. They're actually very good.
Huh. I'll have to check that out.
So that's another talent from Eastern Kentucky as well.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, we can sit here and write a book about all the singers and players that's come out of down there. Tom T. Hall. Let's not forget about him either. So yeah, I I think it's an area that is full of
Unheard
artistic.
talent too. Unheard, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We got all kinds of talent in these hollers, man, that nobody's heard of, but they're better than the mainstream singers.
Well, we grew up in a way of life down there that we didn't have some of the luxuries that other places do, and I think that allows us to escape some of that with our artistic creativity, if you will. So
Definitely, man. Tyler Childers, man, that guy is talented as can be.
yeah, yeah, he's written a lot of songs and definitely has a style of his own in playing those songs as well. So
Definitely, man. Definitely. Brother, I
yeah,
appreciate you being on, man. What's your upcoming shows?
yeah, we got a private gig next weekend. We are playing um, at a wedding actually there in Indianapolis. We're doing a wedding reception. Man, we have played everything from funerals to weddings to bluegrass shows, and we even played an eclipse party last year during that eclipse that was going on.
That had to
But
be
yeah,
interesting. That's pretty cool, man. That might be the coolest show I've ever heard about.
it was definitely the most different thing that we'd ever done. Literally,
Eclipse show. That's amazing, man.
we're literally on stage, and this eclipse started happening, and the next thing you know, it's dark, and
Did
we
you
quit
wear the
playing right.
glasses?
Well, we were supposed to, but none of us did because we wasn't looking at it anyway. We were looking at the crowd, and by the time we got done playing, it's dark. You're in totality or whatever it's called. But yeah, that was probably the neatest thing we did. And but we've got a show. I think every weekend in July we're playing. We're playing at that wedding on the 5th. On the 12th, we're playing in a place called Denver's Garage there in Fortville, Indiana. It's a restaurant. Then we're playing in northern Indiana for some. Um, but July and the month of September, we are everywhere. I mean, we're from playing in Bean Blossom. We are playing in Illinois at a bluegrass festival over there. We're playing in Western Indiana. We're just all over the place in September and July, August, and September. Towards the end of the year, we it starts slowing down a little, and the
It's
other
cold
thing,
outside.
yeah, it gets slow outside, and we move indoor. And the other thing we like to do is we like to do a lot of theaters through the winter. And some of these old theaters are really cool venues too. There's a lot of history behind them, and you got a really cool one right there in Paintsville, that SIP Theater down there. I don't know if you've ever been in there, but uh,
I've been outside, but I've never been inside, no.
yeah, that's another really cool venue down there, and we'd like to try to get in there sometime. But yeah, we like the theaters through the winter to try to hit those up. So
Definitely, man. Well, brother, I appreciate you being on. I want to thank Carl Bentley for being on. Everybody check out Nighthawk Radio on live365.com. And then you can also check us out on the Live 365 app. Just type in Nighthawk Radio on the app. And obviously, subscribe to our YouTube page, Seth's Daily Podcasts, TikTok, Seth the Soil Guy, Facebook page, Nighthawk Radio, Spotify, Seth's Daily Podcast as well. Everybody have a good night. God bless.